So, Darren, I'm going to start the podcast, with my usual jokes. I'm going to tell that chiropractor joke I told you. You remember, don't you?
No.
Oh, come on, you got to remember. It was about a week back.
Oh, God.
Oh!
How dare you? How dare you use me? How dare you? How very dare you?
Come on. A call and response pun. Love it.
I feel sullied.
You're now part of
I
it.
feel violated.
Nice. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black Dog Podcast version 2, episode 80. I should just call it Black Dog Podcast now, shouldn't I? I've been 80 episodes. You should have got it by now. Anyway, hello, I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
And we do not have Elton this week because he is busy. He is off doing things. He is off...
Hiding in a loft.
He's hiding in a loft, having a poo. And if you don't really know what we're talking about, well, that's because we're making allusions to this week's movie, which we'll be reviewing a little bit later, which is Jim?
The Trip.
Yes, Jim's pick, The Trip. Not to be confused with Michael Winterbottom's Rob Brydon, Steve Coogan thing. It is a Finnish movie starring Noomi Rapace. And yes, it was an unknown quantity, and we will be reviewing that later. But firstly, we're going to see how everyone's week's been. And we shall start with you, Jim. How's it been, sir?
It's been fairly relaxed and quiet, bar a few incidents.
Oh, yeah.
I'll start with the more savoury one, shall I?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, always good to start with.
Where we live, we're on there's an app called Your Neighbours or something,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like a loose social network, and it organises people by where they live, and so people in the local area can share information and stuff, and it's sort of a lot of it's kind of, does anyone know a good plasterer?
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of we got some nice some flowers from someone had too many last year and things like that. And
yeah.
we also get updates of crimes in the area.
Oh, okay.
And from around just before Christmas, there's been quote unquote a bunch of little bastards going around the streets, and they sort of started out doing the usual knocking on people's doors and running away, or knocking on the windows. But then there's Christmas decorations vanishing, and they started taking cars. Now it was the other week. I think I was either in the kitchen out back, but it would have been a Tuesday night actually, because Wednesday's our bin day, which I'm sure Elton will be pleased to know.
Good.
But it was
Always
recycling
good keep
day
on
last
these things.
week, and Therese was downstairs in front, and she heard a noise, and it was kind of a bunch of these lads. They're only about 11, 12, 13.
Okay.
And they're fucking around with the neighbour's recycling she'd put out.
Okay.
And so Teresa actually got the phone and filmed them, and they saw her and they gave her some abuse. And so she posted it to the thing and whatnot, and they go, "Oh yes, they've been causing bother." Well, the following evening, they thought it'd be a good idea to come and knock on our window.
Oh.
What they didn't count on was a large man running out the door with a hammer and chasing them down the street.
Nice.
And again, all on film. And I'd set up a camera in the front room, so the police got the footage, and we haven't hiding a hair of them.
Shocking. I'm surprised.
However, there's still in my hallway 2 buckets of rather filthy water.
Nice.
Which, if they come back and knock on the window, they'll find an important lesson, which is if you play stupid games, you will win stupid prizes.
Nice. That is good. Good plan.
What annoyed me most, I think, was the amateurness of it. That you knocked on the window and they all just sat around on the pavement. It's like, no, come on, you knock and you run away, guys.
Yeah. There's ways and means of doing these things. There's tradition. You got to stick with...
and just stand there, then look shocked when a large bearded man comes out, promising to kick your cunt into next week.
Yeah. Yeah, this, ways, times, ways of doing things.
I always admire your pacifistic ways of handling a situation, Jim.
Yeah.
I'm very much like the ABC Warriors. Strike first and strike hard.
Nice. Nice. Extra
Just
points.
Need Joe Pineapples on the roof there, mate.
That's it.
What you need.
Yeah.
Well, so my dad does have a larger arsenal of high-powered air weapons, which I may borrow.
Nice.
To have a look at, of course, not to use on any people.
Oh,
Hey.
no, you can use them on people, that's fine.
Can
Just
you?
not allowed to shout at you can't shoot squirrels or certain protected species. People, fair game.
Yeah.
Shitheads, not a problem.
Yeah. Local scumbags are not a protected species. They are in abundance. They are everywhere.
Excellent,
Nice.
excellent.
Cool. And anything else, sir, or is your Brian Mills jumping over the fence impersonation fully sorted?
Well, other than that, I said we've actually been enjoying. We're delving into some podcasts and catching with Adam Buxton, and recently, I say recently, last 6 months, he'd interviewed Vic Reeves.
Oh yeah,
and that led us to getting. I'll get the. I've been meaning to pick it up for ages. The Jim Reeves, Jim Wire, sorry.
Yeah.
Vic Reeves autobiography.
And
so we got that on audiobook read by the man himself.
Nice.
And that was very, very funny. But that's only volume 1, and we're still waiting for volume 2. But Bob Mortimer brought out an audiobook, so we listened to that, and that was really good as well.
Oh.
I mean, that was very... both of them actually they're very funny, as you'd expect, but also it's actually very honest and very down to earth, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's not like, I was always very talented, cool. It was like, nope, I was absolutely shit as a child. I was shit as a teenager. I was rubbish with girls. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. You know what I mean? It's kind of, like in today's world where you get so much kind of freaking celebrity culture, like, yes, I was always brilliant. It's a breath of fresh air to hear people going, we didn't actually really know what the fuck we was doing to do with my life.
Yeah.
And I just got stumbled into this and was being acting the goat in a pub and had a TV series.
Nice.
But so I would really recommend them, particularly the Bob Mortimer book, which is by turn, it's very funny, very touching, and very wise in places as well. So if you want, if you need a pick me up, which I think a lot of people do around this time of year, Dr. Jim prescribes Away by Bob Mortimer, and get the audiobook because it's very funny him doing all the voices, the various characters he's known.
Nice.
Like the bloke in Middlesbrough bought a drum kit off. Can you set it up for us? No, lads, I can't. My hands are fucked.
Nice. Yeah. I was going to say, what's his name? Bob Mortimer is very canny. I mean, I love watching that one with him and Paul Whitehouse doing the fishing.
Well, we're currently doing the audiobook of that.
Oh, right.
Which is an absolute hoot.
Yeah. That is awesome. It's a show which shouldn't work. It's watching two comedians talk about their heart attacks and wandering around fishing, and it's like that shouldn't work, but it does, and it's just like it's like pure chicken soup for the soul. It's lovely. It's really cool.
It's one of my favourite shows, and so the audiobook of that we just started. That is better than I imagined it was going to be, because I can't believe it's actually a book they've written down. It appears to be them talking in the studio and then talking like an audio version of the show at the riverbank.
Yeah.
Where Paul's trying to teach Bob how to catch tents, and Bob's asking him questions going, how well do you know your Marks and Spencers?
Yeah, that's it. Excellent. And they both on, are you listening to them on Audible or something like that?
Yes, I think they're all on Audible, I think, so yeah.
Cool. Excellent. I'll check that out while I'm doing my walks, desperately trying to get my fat gut down after 2 years of COVID abuse. Cool. Excellent. Oh, that's really cool. Anything else, sir?
I'll leave that there.
You'll leave that there. Okay, then. Well, in which case, we'll move on to you, Mr. Barnard. How about you, sir?
I've been obsessing this week over a certain TV program which has come into my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've learnt there are only 8 episodes. I'm currently on episode 5, and I'm starting to feel a little bit of depression creeping in because I know there's only 3 episodes to go, and I'm hoping they get a season 2.
Yeah.
And that is Peacemaker.
Yep.
I fucking love that show. I love it. I love it. I love it. And you know what? If the show itself was shit, it'd be worth watching just for the title sequence at the beginning of the show, featuring the song "Do You Want to Taste It" by Wigwam. And for anybody that hasn't seen Peacemaker, the opening credits for the show are basically the entire cast doing like a big dance routine. Yeah. That starts off with John Cena as the Peacemaker doing his little bit, and then slowly, gradually, more of the cast join in. Yeah, and it's just such a simple bunch of moves. There's no like elegant ballet, but it's just mesmerising to watch, and it all fits together. The whole thing, the whole feel of it. Yeah. But the show itself, I know we've had a lot of CW superhero shows from DC on TV, but they've all got the same feel about them. Yes. I don't know what it is. Maybe
it's because they're all done by the same showrunner and they all follow the same format. I am the greatest of X doing X.
All my villains will be of the same power set that I am.
Yeah, but mysteriously unveiled over the course of a season and then for the big showdown in the last 2 episodes.
Yes. Yes.
Every time.
Yeah. Well, fuck that, because I think there's a big showdown in just about every single episode of Peacemaker. Yeah. To comical effect on most of it. John Cena, I think, he's just underrated, I think, in comedy. He's just really, really good as Peacemaker. Very, very funny. And the rest of the cast are very, very good as well. It's very well written. It doesn't feel like any other superhero show out there because I think it has got an adult edge, but it's not like, oh, look at us, we're adult because we swore a few times. It actually feels quite natural, the whole thing. James Gunn has done a really good spin-off from the Suicide Squad. In fact, I enjoy this a lot more than I did watching Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I'll go along with that, actually.
I think this makes up for it. And it's like, why aren't you making this as a film? Why is this not the thing you're concentrating on? Maybe it's because it's a TV show and it kind of spreads it out a bit. But, I mean, Robert Patrick is in this as well as his extremely racist dad, right?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, who you find out, of course, there's more to him than meets the eye. It's all like his past is, there's a bit of supervillainy in there going on as well. Yeah. But, if anybody's thinking of watching it, then please do. It's not just your standard, like I say, CW superhero show. This one's actually got, it's well written. It's got a really good heart at its centre as well. And the characters in it, things like Vigilante, who's Peacemaker's, like, he calls himself Peacemaker's best mate, but Peacemaker's best mate is actually his pet eagle called Eagly. Yeah. Who, I mean, all right, it's like you look at it and it's like, that's CG animated, isn't it? But it does it to great effect. It really does. I think they needed to make it CG just because of some of the comedy that it evokes, and 1 or 2 touching little moments as well. Are you up to date with it, Lee? Have you?
Yeah. I mean, that was going to be part of my week. I'm up to episode 5 or whatever is out, last one. But I mean, I mentioned this a couple of weeks back because I was going to say that I've watched Peacemaker, but I was going to say I'd like it. I really do, but I just think that intro over promises.
You think?
Yeah, because I think that the intro is so camp and so outrageous and so weird.
It's simple. It's just really simple.
Yeah, but it's like a kids' TV show. It's like if the Wiggles had come out and done that move, you'd be sitting there going, "Yeah, fine, whatever." But the ludicrousness is of watching, like, you know, secret agents and ninja assassins and some old geezer from next door from Robert Patrick, or Robert Patrick doing hip thrusts into the camera, and you're sort of like sitting there going, what on earth am I watching? It's brilliant, it's mad, but what am I watching? And then when you get to the show's still good, it's still really good, but it isn't quite as mad as that opening 5 minutes.
No, it's not. I think this is just, you know, it's just like the entire cast just getting together because, you know, there are enemies in that and there are good guys, especially Judo Master.
Yes, Judo Master, yeah.
Fucking Judo Master.
Yeah, fucking Judo Master, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Judo that motherfucker as he hits with the car. Anyway, yes. Anyway, I don't want to spoil it for anyone. Yeah.
But yeah, so there's that. And now the second thing I'm going to talk about, which has annoyed me this week, is kind of linked to Peacemaker. Now, as I said, I really like the theme tune, right? That track.
Yeah.
Do You Want to Taste It by Wigwam? And I've been trying to buy it, and I found it on Amazon, right? So it's like, I thought, all right, okay, we'll get the MP3 of that. Now, in the past, Amazon have been pretty good with this sort of thing, and what they do is they let you download your MP3, and you can just take it and you play on any player you like. So I bought it, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to have that as my ringtone for my phone. Fucking love that tune. Downloaded it, went looking for it, can't find it. So I thought, oh, maybe there's been a mistake. Maybe the download's corrupted or something like that. Went looked on the Amazon Music app. It's showing as one of the local files. And I'm seeing that I've got other files that are on there that I can see are actually on the machine or on my phone. So I thought, right, okay, I tried this a couple of times, didn't work. And so I went looking it up. Now, what Amazon have actually done, and this is now stopping me from buying any more digital music on their site, because I thought some of the people that were explaining about this were just being a bit sort of, oh no, don't bother looking for the files. It's like, don't you fucking tell me not to look for the fucking files. If I want to look for the files, I'll fucking look for the files. Just tell me where the bastard location is. And I read a bit further on with my nose out of joint after reading that from two people. Oh, don't bother looking for the files. Fuck off. My money, I bought them. No, I've not. This fucking no. You didn't buy the track. You bought the right to play it for a limited amount of time until Amazon decide that they don't want the license anymore, and then that's it. Thank you very much for your money. So long, and thanks for all the fish.
Yeah.
So I read a bit further, and what they do now is instead of downloading an MP3 onto your machine, they shatter the file. Right. So it's all in fragments, and the only thing that can play it is the Amazon Music app. So you can't now, like, back up your collection or anything. You can't sort of like I've done in the past. It's lucky I did that recently. I took everything, got it onto another drive. So there's one or two things that I've lost to this process now, but, you know, it's nothing drastic. I've got like 99% of my collection that I got from Amazon is backed up somewhere else now. And that's the way it's staying.
Yes.
So it's kind of, you know, what is the point of that? Were you bored? Is this what it is?
No,
you know,
it's because we're in a new digital age where you don't buy anything. You basically rent it.
Yeah, that's bollocks.
I mean,
is bollocks.
You know, it's exactly what I was complaining about years ago with the
with the Roku. What's his name? Was it Play.com?
No, was it Talk TV turning into Rakuten TV, but they don't have the rights to the same pieces of same films that I'd actually paid for, so therefore all I got was Magic Bean points. It's like
Magic Bean points.
Well, yeah, Magic Beans. Here's some Magic Beans. Go and buy something else, you prole. Well, I don't want anything else because your library's shit. I want the thing that I paid for already.
Indeed.
So yeah, fuck digital libraries.
Yeah, that's kind of killed it for me. So it's like when they say that, it's just the question you pose to them is, well, what if I bought a CD without music on it? Do I have to give you back the CD? Do you keep it in a safe box when I'm not playing the actual fucking disc? Is that what you do?
See, yeah, but that's the thing. See, that's where, I mean, this is, and I'm so glad Elton's not here because I can borrow his silver tinfoil hat. But this is where they get you. You see, because what they do is they convince you. No, this is the whole point.
It's just the wording. This is where they get you.
Because what they've done is they convince you that, digital streaming is the way forward. It's the most portable version of the sound. It's the best quality, all this kind of crap. And you go, right, okay, fine, I'll have some of that. And you do that and you go, well, fair enough, it's convenient. I can go to any app I want and listen to it on any player or any device. Forgetting that MP3s already did this. And CDs already did this, and micro SDs did this, and
fucking cassettes did this.
Yes, cassettes, exactly. Cassettes did it. The only thing that didn't do it was 70 RPM, 72 RPM fucking vinyl because you couldn't carry them around with you. So now what they've done is they've gone, keep up with the days, keep up with the times, Grandad. Convince you to go and buy digital versions of everything, and then it's like, well, actually, no, you don't own it. You only own the license, and as long as we let you have it, and then we just decide one day to turn it off. Fuck your money. You're getting no refund. You signed up in the EULA that was 17,000 pages long,
nobody has any time to read,
which is what
understand,
which is what they count on. And again, I mean, that's why when I got the PlayStation, got to bring that in because still proud, humble brag. But when I got the PlayStation 5, it was like you can have the digital one, or you can have the one with a disc drive in it. And it's like, well, no, fuck you. I'm not getting the digital one because I want my games to be games I can play in the future.
Do you know what? I was looking at PlayStation 5s and the two versions of it, and also the Xbox ones. Yeah, and there was a patronising. I felt like somebody was patting me on the head as I was reading it, and and it just got it just fucking put my nose out of joint. It was, the phrase was, "Oh, if you're ready to let go of the disc," I thought, you would get a smack for that if you've been standing there. I wouldn't be able to help myself. It's an involuntary hand slap right across the mouth. Shut your filthy face.
Yeah. Well, exactly. It's because what
Christ
do
almighty.
What do you want us to do? You want us? It's those people who go, you have to embrace the new and all this kind of thing. But they'll be the first ones up front going, why is it I can't watch my favourite TV show on Netflix anymore?
Because we want to be able to turn off the fucking joy. Yeah. Right? That's it. We want to control your joy now.
Well, it's not control your joy. It's just getting the money out of it. It's like, okay. So like today, yesterday, I got Dune on Blu-ray, right? Yep. And it's like someone's looking at me like, when I got it, it's like, fucking hell, some Luddite has just crawled out from a cave to go and buy a disc. He wants a disc.
You want what is this thing you want? A disc?
What is
a disc?
Yeah, what is this disc you speak of?
A disc. What's a disc?
But then, like I say, then there's these, I don't particularly like the show, but, there's people going, Star Trek Discovery's on Netflix, brilliant. Oh, season 4's vanished, and it's behind a paywall.
Yep.
Oh.
What did you expect, fucker?
Exactly.
Control the joy.
Exactly. And it's like, pay me for your joy. It's like, so...
and all these people going, I don't buy discs and you stream it. It's kind of, you wait 5 years' time, you want to visit your old favourites and find they don't have them anywhere because Netflix are releasing stock films up to 3 years old because anything past that, you're a geriatric Nazi who deserves to die.
There you go. Exactly. But you joke about it, but it's true. It's like, how many times have you gone, oh, I want to watch whatever, and you fire up Amazon Prime, or you fire up Netflix, or you fire up, Disney Plus if you feel like that, and you find the film you're after, but only if you subscribe to some extra shitty little extra gubbins just to get another channel that's going to cost you another £7 to £8 a month.
That's Amazon again with fucking stars.
Star
plays. That. Oh, look. Alpha. Was it fucking Pennyworth? I think, is it the show? That's about. Oh, that's going to. What do you mean? I've got to pay extra for it? So what's that shit I give you every month? What's that?
What am I paying for now? I'm paying for the right to go in and pay for the right. That's like paying to get into a shop to pay to buy something, or paying to get into the shop to pay to speak to someone to pay to get something.
You know what that reminds me of, right? It was years ago when The Force Awakens came out. In the front window of Forbidden Planet, they had this really quite cool model of a TIE fighter, right? It was you got a figure to go with it, right? There was a competition for it, okay? And what it was, you entered a competition, and if you won, you got the chance to pay money to buy a raffle ticket to win the TIE fighter. I could not believe my fucking eyes when I read that.
And you know what? People probably did. And
those probably did.
And those people are currently buying NFTs.
Actually, no. It backfired on them.
Oh, go on.
Right? Because a month later, they were selling it at a knockdown price of 50% off. Because no fucker bought a ticket.
Well,
that's it. Nobody entered that competition just to win a place in the fucking raffle queue. Fucking hell, fuck. I said we're going to have a lottery to see who can enter the lottery.
Well, they still do that. I mean, that's all over the place now. Pay for the right to have something happen. It's just like, oh, for God's sakes.
Yeah, it's like teaser trailers of teaser trailers.
Yes. Yeah, or teasers of teaser trailers on the front of the teaser saying that you're about to watch the teaser trailer.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I hate that. I hate that sort of like, here's two really spectacular shots. We'll stick them right at the front.
Yep.
And then we'll cut to, here comes the trailer. It's like, motherfucker, you just spoilt the trailer. Why am I going to sit and watch another 3 minutes of the trailer to get to those two shots you literally just showed me?
Yeah. Exactement.
And welcome to Old Men Shout at Clouds.
Yes,
Black Dog Edition.
Well, talking about Old Men Shout at Clouds, right, okay. I'm starting to really see your point.
Go on.
Now, you see, because I was kind of enjoying programs for what they were and stuff, and I had a bit too much of a think about stuff that I was seeing this week. It came to a head watching the latest episode of The Pension Book of Boba Fett. Right? Okay. It pulled a fucking David Tennant's Doctor Who on us. Where it showed one of the best episodes of Doctor Who hardly had the fucking Doctor in it. In fact, this one didn't even have Boba Fett in it at all. Do you know who it did have in it?
I don't know. Is this a spoiler? Because I haven't watched Boba Fett at all.
You haven't? No, it's not a spoiler. It's they had a whole episode about the Mandalorian.
Oh, do you remember that thing? You remember the thing? You remember that?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. You're going to love this, right? Because I didn't realise what I was seeing on screen at the time until... Have you seen those memes that have been cropping up on Facebook now?
What?
The Memberberry memes. Have you not seen them?
No.
This happens every time that somebody puts a reference in something like The Mandalorian or something like this. Now, basically, it's a picture of a bloke pointing at a TV screen. But what they do is they replace the head with a character from Star Wars that's linked with the reference.
Oh, that's from was it Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? That's the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing forward. off of his chair. Yeah.
And what it was this week, it was there was a part that the Mandalorian needed for this ship, and he got brought it. And I looked at that. I thought that's familiar, right? And then the meme cleared it all up for me. Okay.
Oh, right.
It was this long, thin, tubular piece of metal, and he needed it for the engine, and he fitted it in there. It was lovely. And then the meme has got Han Solo from Star Wars: A New Hope pointing at it, right? So that's the head on the character. And you see it being used in the trash compactor scene where they picked up that metal rod and tried to stop the walls from closing in. That was it. So have you run out of references already? Are you now scraping? Can we just have an episode of anything? And I'm especially looking at you, fucking Star Trek Lower Decks, right? Star Trek Lower Decks is the worst fucking offender for this. It is, right? Out of all of them. Okay? Can we just have an episode where you just leave references alone?
No.
Just leave them alone. No. Just
they wouldn't have a show then.
Yeah.
Just
do an
shouting.
Put the Star Wars toys down. And just have an episode that has, because they almost did it on Lower Decks. I thought I saw this episode and I thought, oh, this is it. This is where they got tired of doing all this thing, and they've now started, doing their own thing, because there's promise in the show. I can see there's promise, right? There's bits where they don't do any of that referencing bollocks. They don't always mention Captain Kirk or Jean-Luc Picard or Benjamin Sisko or Catherine Janeway or Riker, because apparently the only two periods in Star Trek history that are available are the Next Generation or the original series. Okay? So let's just get that off my chest right now. Right? They had an episode where they almost got to the very fucking end of it, and then they blew it. It was as if it's almost like a junkie who's trying to kick a habit, right? And almost does it, but then gives in and fucking stuffs a bag of skag in his fucking eyeballs, right? It's not just subtly. It's not just a little taste. It's literally smashing the drug bag into his face. And that's what it did in that episode. And it was like, you were so fucking close.
Yeah.
Because this was a good episode up until you did that. Because even though you did have a reference in it, it was extremely subtle and it was very well done. And it was actually funny. It's one of the few things I've laughed at in that show.
And yet you still watch it.
No, I don't.
No, right.
I didn't even finish season 1. I tried my damnedest to get to the end of it, and I just can't do it. I'm done with it. I know.
So
I know its measure.
So like last well, I say last week, but the last episode we recorded.
Yeah.
And you were sighing about me constantly mentioning member berries.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, that was because you mentioned about Spider-Man, you see, the No Way Home one, which I thought you were unfair about.
No, it wasn't just Spider-Man. It was
I know it wasn't.
blooming Matrix.
The Matrix, yes, I get that. Honestly, I did at the time anyway, right? It's even though I thought there were good bits in it, it still was kind of like, we'll write all this good stuff, we'll write all this, bit at the beginning there, and how as comments on media itself and recasting parts for changing the look of a character or whatever, when you do a reboot or something, and just going and changing that character for the sake of changing that character, not because it's actually did we need to do that? What was the point of that change that big change you made there? Was it just because you want to put your mark on it? Is it just a pissing competition? Is that what it is? Right? So that I totally get, because that was like doing that, writing some brilliant stuff, and then finishing off by giving it to a 2-year-old with a bunch of fucking crayons. Right? Oh, man. Lost a wasted opportunity. That's what that was. Right? You could have done it as a Netflix fucking special. That You know, just put it on Netflix. You'll get your money for it anyway. You've got a guaranteed lump of money from Netflix. You don't have to worry about box office returns or anything. You put it on fucking HBO Max or whatever it was anyway. So, you know, why not just go the whole hog? Okay, I'm going to shut the fuck up now because I've got other stuff, but I've used my time. I'm sorry. I'll shut up now. I've gone off on one. I've made the fucking how was your week? There's only 3 of us. We're one man down, and I've still made it last 90 minutes. What the fuck?
Well, you know.
I was going to mention The Witcher game.
Oh my god!
The game where Geralt has been voiced by 3 different people. Because to begin with, he sounds like this when he's talking. But then when you're riding a horse, you hear, "Come on, Ned Best, let's get up that hill." And he sounds like that.
Nice.
It's like pick a voice, pick a voice,
pick a lane,
pick a lane, pick a voice. You know, what are you? Are you like, you know, a slightly American gruff voiced person, or are you fucking, I don't know, a builder from Cornwall? What are you? Pick a lane. Pick a lane. Shut up, Darren. Shut up. Okay, I'm going to be quiet now.
Pull up.
Pulling up. Fucking hell, on half go on. Right, go on.
Well, it's okay. I mean, you know, my week, I'll go through it reasonably quickly as much as I can. The first thing, video games. I got a video game for my PS5 called Returnal.
Oh, Returnal?
Returnal.
Okay.
Yeah, which is
play Louise and get the other girls back together again.
Exactly. Yeah, you play. That's it. Yeah. You try and reform the band before All Saints take over the entire girl band mid-90s kind of thing.
They're all dead, and it has to be a seance, so it's a bit of like, you know, you've got to be a necromancer, which is why it's called the Returnal.
Yes,
because they're returning.
Well, it's
Sender or something. I don't know. Shut up, Darren.
He's off. Shut
up.
He's had too many sugars in his tea.
God, you're doing it again, aren't you? You just won't stop. It's like a condition with you.
Anyway, yeah, it's a time loop game. It's another time loop game, but it's also a time loop game which is third person shooty, and it's very atmospheric. And the graphics are tippity top, and like most PS5 native games, it seems very, very concerned with making your controller do lots of sort of whizzy, vibration-y type things to show off that it can. So there's there's lots of moments where your suit powers up and it goes whoop, 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 and you feel the controller sort of doing this kind of business, but it's as tough as fucking as all nails, because the map changes every time you die. So you die, you resurrect yourself, and then you find that you go through the front door and you think, right, okay, I'm going to go and fight these monsters, take it out on them again. And then you find that your gun's gone back to 0, so your gun's shit, and the map has completely changed, and you're like, oh, okay. So it is both frustrating and yet somehow bizarrely addictive. So I'm finding I'm quite enjoying it, despite myself.
So it's a bit of like a science fiction Dark Souls.
Yes, science fiction Dark Souls with shoot 'em up elements is probably a really good way of describing it. So there's that one. Right. So there's that. What else? The only other thing, it was my mum's birthday today, so we've just had a lovely curry. So if I suddenly nod off with curry sweats, that'll be why. Basically.
If you need a shit, just remember to go at the loft.
That'll be next. Don't worry. Yes. No, I'm not going to call one of us. No. I'm not. So anyway, who's Dave in this group? Anyway, and and the other thing I was going to say was last week, which wasn't on the podcast last week because we had hard drive issues. So last week's episode was actually the week before. Confused. You will be. But so I missed out on telling one story, which was I was walking to work, but I walked to my parents' house just to get some, actual exercise. But I walk like for an hour, so I go completely out of my way.
Yeah.
And I get down the bottom of one of the roads, and there's a guy standing there, and he's just kind of blocking the view. And I'm thinking, what the fuck's that all about? And I noticed that what's happened is he's actually protecting a fox that has been hit by a car. Okay, and it's in pain. It's a fox in pain, and he's trying to protect it from kids who are walking to the local school and basically doing nothing but filming it. So, okay, fair
I love
enough.
kids.
Yeah, I love kids. Couldn't eat a whole one.
Exactly.
And so I'm sort of like, oh, what's going on? This fox is desperately trying to scrabble away. It can't. It's in pain. It's distressed. And so I'm like, right, okay, I know someone who can help me with this, because Carol, my wife, is like organisational masterclass. So I call her up and I go, I need numbers for fox rescues centres in this area, because I'm trying to do it on my phone. But I'm also trying to find, trying to find them on my phone. But my phone's slow as fuck and all this sort of thing. And so 5 minutes later, she's like, "Oh, here's the number for a local vet. Here's the number for another local vet. Here's the number for the Fox Society. Here's the number for the RSPCA in the local area." So I call up the RSPCA. They won't turn up for at least an hour and a half, and they won't rush for a fox. That's their words. It's like, oh. Right, okay.
Foxes don't have owners. Owners, therefore, no donations. You can go fuck yourself.
Yes, exactly.
That's the RSPCA's attitude often.
Exactly.
I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, exactly. And I was kind of like, oh, okay. So then I go, right, okay, I phone up the local vet. The local vet's like, no, we won't pick up foxes. We don't do that. But there is a vet hospital down the road, so here's a number for that. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I call the vet hospital. Oh, we don't do foxes unless someone brings it in. And I look down at this fox, and no joking, this thing is like the size of like a proper sized dog, is what I'd say. It's about sort of 3 foot long, this thing. And it's like, I am not picking up a very angry, rather in pain fox. And then walking to some unknown location where a vet's hospital may be. And so I'm thinking, oh great, this is going well. Anyway, but the vets, the hospital then says, oh well, actually, what we've got is we've got a whole slew of volunteers who will come pick up animals for us. If there's one in your area, I'll give you the number. And I'm like, okay, fine. So we go through that. I get this number, and this lady's like, I'm only 5 minutes away. I'll come and rescue that fox for you. I'm like, right, brilliant, fantastic. Anyway. So I'm standing there, and then all of a sudden, as I'm standing there, up comes the street sweepers doing their rounds. And I'm standing there looking at this street sweeper, and he comes over and he goes, so what we got here then? And I said, oh, it's a fox, it's in pain. And this other bloke's going, yeah, I've tried to call these people and that people, and he's tried to call people, and, all this sort of thing. And then all of a sudden, we hear in the car across the street. And this woman, this old lady who must have been in her late 70s, I would have said, just from quick glance, is leaning out the window going, that fox isn't fucking dead. Don't fucking put it in the bin. Leave it alone. Fucking leave it alone. I'm like, what the fuck is going on now? And it was the lady who was coming to rescue the fox. But she
swears like a sailor.
She's swearing like a sailor. And she thinks that obviously because she's seen the street sweepers, that they're going to, like, I don't know, hit it with a shovel and throw it in a bin. So she pull up like fucking Starsky and Hutch, this little tiny Fiat 500, fucking up on the curb. Leave it alone. Don't fucking put it in the bin. It's still alive. It's a sentient beast. Oh, all right. Hang on. Cool. Okay. Just the whole street sweepers are like, Anyway, see you later, lads. Just carried on going.
I'll leave you to handle this one.
Yeah, off you go. Tatty bye. Keep 'em peeled, Sean Taylor, and just wandered off. Anyway, this lady comes barreling across from the car, and she comes running down, closes the car, runs down. She's got like half a dozen towels in her arm, and she comes over and she goes up to the fox. She goes, You have no idea how many people don't look after foxes, and they will throw them in the bin if they see them like this and all sort of thing. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Fair, calm down. Obviously a misunderstanding. So she takes this towel and she throws it over this fox. Now, bearing in mind, she's about 4 foot tall. She's like that bloke from Fantasy Island, right?
Right.
But 70 years old lady who you'd see probably down the WI pouring teas for other people. And she sort of throws this towel over this fox. Then she rolls it over and this thing's going like kind of thing. And she puts the towel over the other side. And me and this other guy are sort of swapping looks. Like, are you going to pick that up? Do you need that? Sort of wanting to ask, do you want a hand? But we don't really want to give her a hand because that thing's fucking livid. And she goes, I don't need a hand. It's okay. I've dealt with foxes before. And she lifts this thing up.
Mm-hmm. And
she lifts it up, grabs it by the scruff of the neck. And when she does it, when kids in the 70s tried to take the mickey out of Asian people and pulled their eyes to the side.
Yeah.
Imagine that's happened to this fox. She grabs it by the scruff of the neck and its eyes go back about 1.5 feet and its mouth opens up and it's going, like this sort of thing. And she's got it by the scruff and she's just going, all you need is 2 towels and hold it by the scruff of the neck. It's just like a cat. This thing's like fucking almost as big as she is. And she's staggering up the road and she goes, I'm just going to put it in the car. I'm like, you got a cage? She goes, no, I'm just going to put it in the back of the car. It can't move. It's not going anywhere. I'm like, fuck me. What the fuck is this?
Let me guess what happened, right?
Go on.
You see her toddle off up the road. You see her fling it in the car. She gets in the car, turns around. You're watching the car go up the road. All of a sudden, it veers sharply off to the left. It's a tree.
yeah. Just fluff and blood flying out of the windows. Yeah.
You hear, help me.
She comes out and then slowly the fox drags her back inside the car. Well, no.
It's like a fucking WWE cage match.
Well, funny enough, yeah, fucking hell. But actually, no, what happened was she goes up the road back to the car. And she's still staggering. Now, if you imagine, when you see people holding like sacks of flour, you know, and they're too heavy and they're holding them, the sack of flour is kind of sagging and they sort of take that sort of wide leg stance.
Yeah.
Like World's Strongest Man when they try and lift a ball, one of those big balls,
Yeah.
They're kind of staggering up. So she's little old lady, she's staggering up there, got this fucking thing going, sort of thing. She gets to the car, she turns around and she goes, Excuse me. I'm like, oh, all right, okay. The other guy, the guy who was originally protecting the fox, he's fucked off. He's gone. So now it's just me, Muggins. So I go over to her, I go, yes? She goes, I'm holding on to this fox, but I've locked the doors to the car. Can you get my keys? I'm like,
where are
what?
the keys? In the jaws of the fox. What?
No, the keys are in her trouser pocket.
Oh.
Yes.
When's the court case, Lee?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, just go for your keys.
Exactly. So there's this. So the end of the story is essentially there's a tableau of me and this lady and this fox standing outside near a school with me, my hand jammed down inside her trouser leg,
God.
grabbing for her keys while she's trying to strangle a fox, going like this sort of thing. And it's just the most bizarre sight you've ever seen in your life. There's me trying to root around for the fucking keys in her trouser pocket. There's this fox going.
I have to say, this has got a hint of Darren Diamond about it. I'm not quite sure which bit. It might be something to do with you having your hand down some old lady's trousers. But
it was not intentional. I was requested, and it was done in
jingly,
public.
jingly.
Jingle, jangle, jewelry. Anyway, and yes. So I finally recovered the keys, unlocked the car. She put the fox, in the state it was, into the back of the car on the back passenger seat, and then she just put the towel over its head, and it just went to sleep. It just stopped moving. And then she got in the car, thanked me very much, took the keys and fucked off. It was a bit of an anticlimactic finale, but I'll be honest with you. You just have to have a vision of a 70-year-old lady holding a fox that's her size, while a man who's twice her size sticks his hand down her pockets. And that was my Monday. So there you go. That was my week. Yes, as it turned out, the fox made it back to the hospital, and I found out later because she called me up.
Yeah,
that the fox had to be put to sleep because it was irreparably damaged. I don't know.
Can I just ask? Did she ask for your number after you'd actually rummaged around her pockets?
No, she had.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, she called me back for a second go. No, she called me because she already had my number because I called her.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, stick with the story, man. Stick with the story. Don't try and make me out to be more of a pervert. I don't believe you for a minute, but Well, don't worry. It's it's the court case. Like I say, will be up in a couple of weeks, and I'll hopefully get off with minimal charges, only public decency charges, and being blamed for the attack of a fox. But anyway, so yeah, that was it. That was my week, really. So I'll leave it there because otherwise I'll go into watching Peacemaker, and we've already discussed that. And yeah, there's no feedback for last week, which was what was that last week? Oh, Guns Akimbo. God, I forgot that film. Anyway, so yeah, that was Guns Akimbo. Nobody had anything to say on Guns Akimbo, which was ironic because neither did we really. And then we'll just leave it there and roll the jingle, and let's review The Trip. Gods, what have I become? Right. Okay, gents, do you want to take a break for a cup of tea?
Yep. Okie dokie.
Okay.
Go and get a drinky.
Yes.
Beautiful.
I see it's nearly 5 o'clock. I'm here at home, my work's all done. No question where I'll be tonight, a place of cinematic fun. It's the lockdown, but I will not pout. Oh, my friends, I won't be seeing this out alone. There's Lee and Elton and Jim and Darren, all sitting far apart for social distance. We're at the shut-in cinema, down in the bunker of shun. Down in the bunker of shun.
Hey fellas, it's
It's been nearly 5 years. You gonna let me out now or what?
Right, so The Trip, which is a Finnish movie, not to be confused with the Indian movie also called The Trip, the Indian Tamil film, which also came out in 2021, or The Trip, which is, as I said before, Michael Winterbottom comedy with Rob Brydon and Steve Coogan. This one is the one we're talking about. Stars Noomi Rapace, who you may remember from things like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and Prometheus, and Aksel Hennie, who I think the only time anyone's seen it in Western audiences, is in The Martian. He was on board the Hermes. He was the guy who was the sort of chemist who made the bomb that blew up the front of the ship. Kind of appropriate given the the film we're about to review. There's also now I'm going to murder all these names, so let's just all accept that I'm terrible with names and accents. Let's just rip this band-aid off and move on. There's Atle Antonsen. There's Christian Rubeck, Andre Eriksson, and Niels Oftebro, and Stig Frode Henriksen, Tor Erik Gunstrom. God almighty, I can't believe I'm even getting this far. I'll leave it there.
You're doing well.
I'm doing well. And it's directed by Tommy Wirkola, and it's also written by him as well. The film follows a dysfunctional couple that head to a remote cabin to reconnect, but each of them has intentions to kill the other. Before they can carry out their plans, unexpected visitors arrive, and they face a greater danger. That's the entire premise, and we will be getting into spoilers. So if you haven't seen this film, after we've had our little discussion, there is no point talking about how much did it cost and how much did it make, because it's Netflix and they don't publish that shit. So we will go around the table, see what everyone thought, and then once we do that, we're into spoilers. And I strongly suggest that if you have any interest in this film at all, that you stop right now, go watch it, and then come back and listen to it, because I think it deserves that rather than having it spoilt by us. So, anyway, we'll go around the table. It feels odd not to do the money thing, but we have literally no data. So we'll start off. Jim, have you seen this before? Because this was your suggestion, wasn't it?
Yes, well, actually, we literally just watched it a
couple
of days
right.
before and thought, I think that's Black Dog material.
Funny enough. Yeah. Okie dokie. Well, in considering you've seen it before, and neither me nor Darren, I think, have even heard of it until now.
Yeah.
Let's do me and Darren. Darren will go first, and then it'll be me, and then you, sir, because obviously you have seen it before. So, Darren, what did you think of The Trip?
I actually quite enjoyed this film. Yeah. I got some good entertainment out of it. I also found myself giving it a bit of side eye as well at one point for something it played as comedy, and it's like, you know what, this isn't comedy. This bit, this is really kind of not comedy at all. This one bit, it kind of changed the tone of the movie for me at one point, but we'll get to that a bit later.
Okie dokie. Me, I fucking loved this film. I absolutely loved it. There were a couple of moments. Where I did it twice, and I went, "Oh, fuck off!" But by that point, I was so into it, hook, line, and sinker. I thought, I'll just go with it. Show me the flashback, explain it to me, and then I'll see whether or not I'm still saying, "Oh, fuck off." And I wasn't. So I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this film. So big thumbs up for me. Jim, over to you.
Well, we came to this film because the writer Adam Neville, I'm on his mailing list, And he's making this, he just, apart from news of what he's doing, he always has a big list of things he's read or watched. And the last one he did, he only sends out like a newsletter like once every couple of months, and this one was like a massive list of films all on streaming. So it's kind of, I'm copying that, we'll work our way through this. And he was sat there, we started on the trip, and all right, it's on Netflix, okay. We thought, all right, we'll give it a go. It just said outrageous slapstick. I thought, okay, all right. Very bloody. Okay, that sounds good for a Friday night.
Yep.
So we stuck it on, and then when it started and it saw the director's name, I was like, oh, that rings a bell now. I think I know where we're headed here. Because this director made the Dead Snow films.
Oh, right.
Okay. The Nazi zombie movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which are kind of like the Finnish Bad Taste, really.
Yeah.
They're very much in that tradition. And so I said, okay, I'll be interested to see where this goes. And, I thought this was just I thought actually it's a step up from, I do like the Dead Snow film, but this was kind of quite sophisticated, despite Nazis taking shits and people getting their balls blown off and death by lawnmower. But there's he's grown as a director. There's a lot more interest. There's a bit more layer to the plot, and I think the black humour and the whole kind of always Hitchcockian, let's go away to reconnect, we were plotting to kill each other, and how that goes wrong. I thought it was just deliciously wicked. There are scenes in this that I will take to my grave. Have been extremely poor taste, very bloody, and on some occasion, oddly touching.
Yeah. Yes. So there you go. Bloody, violent, slapstick, oddly touching. I think that's a poster quote right there.
It is. It is.
So yeah, okay. I think we'll call it a draw there. We'll put a line under the sand there because we're going to go forward. But this is your spoiler warnings, everyone. Whoop whoop! Spoiler warning! Spoiler warnings. So if you haven't seen the film and you have no interest in it, then go and do it. Carry on with us. But if otherwise you've got any interest in this, go and watch it and then come back. So there you go. Final spoiler warning. Told you as many times as I can. Bang. Done. Right. Okay. So let's get into it then. So Darren, you said there was let's start with the give it pause moment.
Yeah.
Where do you think it turned? Because
it was first of all, it was when they got captured. They're both sitting in the basement with these three blokes, and you've got one of the guys who is basically going to rape someone, right? And that is a bit touchy as it is, right? But it's when it's like it's revealed, because it's first of all something her husband says to her just before he thinks she's going to get raped. And he says, oh, maybe you'll be satisfied then. And I thought, what? It's just that one comment from him. It's like, fucking hell, mate. But that wasn't the thing. It was just the fact that it was him. And it's like, you see him, he's about to get raped over a fucking table. And it's like, are you playing this for comedy? Are you expecting me to laugh at this? Because I don't feel right laughing at this at all. And I think it was played for comedy, which is like, because you see the look on his face. They do their comedy, that expression of, like that. And it just, I don't know, it just felt, it's like if this had been happening to Noomi Rapace, a violent, she's like, if you'd seen her being held across a table, same thing with that. It's like, are you playing this for comedy? I hope you're not, but I think you are, aren't you? And that bit didn't sit well with me.
Okie dokie.
That was the only thing that didn't. Though, I've got to say, it was that. Everything else, kind of, I enjoyed the way it was going. But it was just that one little bit. It kind of just took the wind for me out of the comedy sails.
Right.
There.
Okay.
It was a bit of a slap in the face. Maybe that's what it was. You've got all this kind of dark humour coming up to that point, and it's like, is this a little bit too dark?
Okay. Jim?
Well, for me, that point, I think there is a very black bit of humour when he's kind of, no, he wants to rape you. And he's like,
yeah.
But I think that scene, I mean, that's where the film gets to its nastiest. But I think that's very deliberately putting a toe over that line beyond bad taste comedy to something genuinely nasty, to basically justify the appalling things that those three twats are going to have happen to them later on. Because it kind of that's these are not nice people. They are the scum of the earth, and they deserve every bit of mayhem that they're going to get coming to them for the remainder of the film, and every pint of blood sprayed everywhere will be fully justified. I think that's what that scene's there for.
Yeah.
Just to say, these people, they're fucking arseholes. It's not, there's not like a psycho one, and the other two are kind of all right. No, they're all complicit, and they're absolutely cold motherfuckers who deserve, no more rights on God's clean earth than a rabid weasel.
Yeah. I was gonna say something very similar. I think because I have to say it was one of those films when I was watching it thinking, well, this isn't quite as sort of violent and gory and blackly humoured as I thought it'd be. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm watching him plan to shoot her and beat her over the head with a hammer, and then there's all these kind of fake out moments, and then she turns around and she could stab him or something, but what she does is she basically tasers him, and for me, what I thought was really quite interesting was where it really turned, properly turned, was when finally the film put its foot on the pedal in terms of the violence and showed that there were actual consequences. Which firstly was the poor sod who was going to help Lars out, who got shot who got shot in the back so hard that he basically bounced his head off the top of the fucking door frame.
I burst out laughing when that happened. I went, fucking hell!
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I did. And the thing was, it was still in that cartoony realm.
Yeah, it was like bottom violence.
Yeah, it was still bottom. It was, there was blood.
He flew up in the air.
Yeah,
just like a straight trajectory.
Yeah,
it was the reaction shot of them as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck.
Yeah. But it was that sort of like when he took off and he sort of head hit the bloody top of the door frame, and it just went. It was like it was bang. It just dropped, and I'm like, oh blimey, and I thought, oh well, that's a shock, but that's still not scary. You know what I mean? This film's been put forward as being this kind of Straw Dogs style thriller in many ways. If you haven't seen Straw Dogs, take a strong stomach and prepare yourself. But it is the same idea in many ways. But when you see the criminals, when you see the three criminals, and they're kind of introduced with the Nazi guy Roy eating berries in the bloody forest, and you think, well, okay, he's a big dumb idiot, so immediately he's not a threat. And then when you see sort of like Handsome Dave or whatever his name is, and then
Horse-Dick Dave,
yeah. Well, you don't find out his name is Horse-Dick Dave until that scene in the basement, and then you see Peter, and Peter seems to be like a sort of dishevelled cross between Leatherface and Benny Hill. And you kind of who's despairing at the fuckwits he sort of landed himself with. So it's almost like Three Stooges. And then when they first appear, with falling through the ceiling, it's all still proper slapstick. So when it gets to that scene in the basement, what that does is that changes gear. And yes, it's not pleasant, but I don't think it's meant to be. There are dark lines of humour in there, one of which I will not lie, I did laugh at, which was, don't worry, it's just going to feel like you're doing deep squats onto a fire hydrant, which is a mental vision I'm going to take to my grave. And the other one, which was he's going to turn your ass into ground meat, and I just thought, oh god, that's rough. But once it does that, as Jim says, I think it's there to put a line in the sand and stop them from being comical anymore. Because if they're still comical and floundering about, it's, to me at least, it would be like Home Alone. And there'd be too much of that sort of like just flopping about and all just looning about. Especially like when you find out how Lars secreted the billiard boards, later on. But so to me, I thought it was shocking, but I thought it was meant to be. I think it may have been. It was the same. It was the same kind of. You could see where they were going with it. How it landed is entirely up to the viewer and how they take it, though. It's in the same way as the princess. A princess in was it Kingsman, when she says, if you let me out of here, and and he sort of turns around and goes, I'll be right back. Now that can either be a laddish he's gonna do up the bum kind of gag, or you can just go, oh, you didn't need to do that. There was no need for that. It's pointless. It's not added anything to the film. It's a 3-second throwaway gag, but now I'm sitting there going, oh, really? Really? And this was the same thing. You either went with it, or you didn't. And both are perfectly valid. But I think for me, that scene puts a sort of proper stakes on the thing. It stops it from being Keystone Cops Home Alone. Suddenly, it's not just, we've set fire to Joe Pesci's head. It's, no, if Joe Pesci gets hold of me, he's going to stab me with a butcher's knife. I'm going to die. Yeah. But, yeah, I totally get where you're coming from with it, though.
Yeah.
But anyway. Go on, sorry.
That was just a bit like, what do I do with this? It was, what is it you're expecting me to do?
Yeah. But
how
again,
do I handle this?
Yeah. Again, it's a case of, and also I think there's an interesting thing to be said about the fact that, were the roles reversed, were it the traditional, as much as I hate to use the phrase, but the traditional sort of like, oh God, they're going to do something horrible to the lady, is the man going to step up and save her? How would you have felt then?
Well, no, just as thing. It's
just an interesting thing that was sort of going around in my head. It was like, it was an interesting turnaround. Yeah. That made you kind of reappraise what was about to happen from a more sort of like, from a more personal point of view, shall we say.
I think it's the film, it does play with your perceptions. And it's kind of, in a weird way, it reminded me of far more serious and grim films like Michael Haneke's Funny Games.
Oh, God, yeah.
Where there's that similar sort of thing, because you start out with these two characters, and the way it's introduced when you start is Lars plotting to murder his wife, and you take against him, obviously, because that's not a nice thing to be doing. But then you discover his wife's been plotting to murder him, and that flips it again. And then you get these three criminals. And at first, they kind of are not unlike... They could be in a finish, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
It's quite good-natured, and the banter in the attic. especially this reminds me of that book you read about Anne Frank. I don't remember the bit where she took a shit on the floor. But as it goes on, it's always just moving how you feel about the characters.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of is good comedy to can explore that, because it'd be very easy just to play this and pile on the blood and the guts and bottom with gallons of gore.
I think the other thing is that the thing that kept coming back to my mind was things like Evil Dead 2, where you're expecting a horror film and you basically get a slapstick Three Stooges comedy that just happens to have a bunch of zombies in it.
Yeah.
And that almost doesn't go far enough. And as strange as that sounds with Evil Dead, especially Evil Dead 2, you should almost feel like you should have felt the loss and the fear and the danger of those monsters coming in and taking over the people who are still in the cabin with Ash. But you never do. It just turns into sort of like people screaming and eyeballs flying and everyone going, ah, like a sort of like B-movie horror film, which is exactly what it was. And whereas this turns around and goes, no, you think it's a comedy, but it is still. But they are still in danger. These people are still in trouble here, and that's the kind of that shift is right on that scene. But yeah, I take your point. About like how do you feel about it? How do you handle it? And how does that make you feel going forward? Personally, going forward, it made me feel like old horse dick Dave got his absolute comeuppance in a way that I thoroughly applauded. If I'm honest.
Well, they all did.
There was a punching of the air in our house, put it that way.
Yeah.
But also the scene afterwards where he goes out and stands with his dad.
I think I just shot a man in the cock.
Did you notice, by the way, how many times Lars got punched in the face?
Yes. Yeah.
It's just like, was there any bone structure left?
No. Which is also another reason why I felt like it was very Evil Dead 2 in that respect. Is how many cupboards and shelves did Ash get thrown into throughout the whole of Evil Dead 2? Every time someone turned up, they threw him into a bunch of shelves. It's like, what is this? Was he in a cabin in the woods, or was he in the fucking storage section of IKEA? So yeah. But anyway, moving on from that particular scene, how did you feel about the two main characters? I mean, Jim's already alluded to the fact that you're supposed to feel one way about Lars and then another way about Lisa. Yeah. But how did you feel about them?
Well, I thought Lars was the worst out of the two, just because of that comment he made when he thought his wife was about to get raped. It's like fucking hellfire. So, for any sympathy you might, not that I'm saying there was any sympathy for Lars, he was about to murder his wife, but if for me, if I'd had any sympathy for him, that one comment would have just blown that away. Just because that is just so, what is wrong with you for saying something like that when this thing is about to happen? And then of course she saves him by bringing out the thing about the money. She didn't have to. She could have let him just, she could let them have their way with him. But she stops it in the end.
Yeah. Well, but it's interesting because that scene and the scene that follow both do the same thing with both characters, which is that they appear to act selflessly, but actually they're acting in their own self-interest. Because they appear to be acting in their own self-interest, but they're actually acting selflessly. Which is because the first one is obviously she doesn't say anything until it looks like he's in trouble, and then she doesn't say anything until Peter sits beside her and goes, once they're done with him, they're going to come for you, and let me just give you this piece of advice: just relax. and you suddenly she's like, oh, well, I've got money, anything happens to him or happens to me, you're getting no money.
Yeah.
And you think, okay, is she doing that because she's saving him, or is she doing that because she's saving herself once she realizes that it's not just him? And then the second thing is when, again, you kind of see that whole thing of he's got a plan, he's got those billiard boards, he's going to the toilet and all this sort of thing. And he comes out and he goes, he's got a sock and he fucking lamps Roy. And you think, oh, yeah, he's going to, he's got a plan. But then actually he's running away. Oh, okay. But then he comes back, and is he coming back to save her, or is he acting selflessly or selfish? So those two scenes I found really interesting, because you're still sitting there going, are they helping each other, or are they just helping themselves and helping the other one inadvertently? Do you know what I mean? How did you feel about it, Jim?
Well, I thought it was very interesting that you were never sure, and this was kind of very much a gloves off movie, where it was in Hollywood. By the halfway mark, you'd realize, they love each other actually, and they're going to work together, and they'll live happily ever after. But, in this film, it's kind of, no, this isn't that sort of movie. This could go either way. He might kill them and still decide he wants to kill her.
Well, okay then. I mean, maybe I'm jumping a little too far ahead. But that final scene on the boat, when he gets his leg caught in the rope.
Yeah.
How many of us here thought she was considering letting him go?
I thought she was. I thought she was like, well, maybe it might be best if he just stays down there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I was exactly the same. I was like, okay, she's going to let him go. She's going to let him go. She's going to let him go. And it's kind of interesting because it kind of proves the point that you're still not entirely sure about any of them up to the last knockings.
And that's pretty good to get down to the wire like that. You should still be wondering.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Dale? You thought you were going to let him go, or?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you could just it's that look in her eye,
Yeah, definitely. I just thought that. Yeah, I was like, okay, any second now it's just going to be, oh no, and he was taken out and thrown overboard. Oh no, I've got all the money. The end. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Diego. Where's Diego? But okay, this is a trite question, and it's going to be a lot more difficult than I think anyone might suspect. But who is your favourite character in this film? Who were you actually rooting for?
Well, I've got to say Noomi Rapace's character.
Yeah.
Know? Yeah.
So you were rooting for her throughout the film, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah?
Indeedy.
Okie dokie. What about you, Jim?
Tough. I think Lars just by a whisker.
Yeah.
It's mainly just for his remark where he meets his accomplice. And it was just such a brilliant set, because we've all seen how many films where people have these clandestine meetings. And he said, what a fucking stupid idea is this, meeting in a big public place surrounded by lights and music and hundreds of people.
Yeah. The lights and music and hundreds of people. Well, I didn't think anyone noticed. What, were the only two paedophiles with candy floss walking through a circus? Yeah. I want a contract. Can we draw up a contract? What do you mean they call that evidence? Don't you mean that evidence? No, I've got to say the MVP, to use the kids' terms.
Yeah. The
most valuable player was Lars's dad.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, his arrival at the latter half of the episode, latter half of the film, was one of my fuck off moments. But then they have the flashback, and I'm going to be honest with you, I shouldn't have laughed as much as I did with his mate in that little wheelie chair thing. Noticing all the shit that's happened in the house, wheeling all the way back home, phoning up Lars's father, and then Lars's father going, "Yeah, what's up?" And he goes, "Well, I was going to the medical centre because you know what? I really wanted my medicines, but I couldn't find any in the house. So then I found a place that does it 24 hours a day. So I went to the 24-hour place. But what do you know? By the time I got there, there weren't any medicines there. So by the time I drove back, I got home, I sat down, and do you know what? I still had the medicines. And the dad's like, yeah, but why are you calling me in the fucking middle of the night? Oh, well, the house looks like it's been ransacked. It's like... But, yeah, when dad's all sort of like, you lot are all soft. We just need a bloody good war, you know. And it's just like, okay, okay, psycho dad. But then when he's sort of turning up, there's Horse Dick Dave, and it's like, you move and I'll cut her. Oh, that's a shame. You've brought a knife to a shotgun fight. Bang, blows his fucking knee off. It's just like, right. Well done, Lars's dad. I thought that was wicked. And strangely poignant as well about the whole thing about he'd never going back to the cabin, but he loved the sunsets and all that sort of thing. I thought, oh, that's really cool.
Well, that's it. You have that scene with Lars where he says, "You are right. The sunsets are better this side."
Yeah, yeah. It's the most bizarre kind of reconciliation between a father and a son. Oh, yeah. Are you okay there, son? I'm proud of you. Yes, I think I've just shot a man's balls off. I love the sunset. Yeah.
No, didn't he say the sunrise is much? You're right. Yeah, the sunrise is much better than the sunset.
Oh yeah, the sunrise is so much better than the sunset. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. By the way, I think I've just blown a man's balls off. I'm proud of you, son. Oh, damn. Anyway, yeah. So I really enjoyed the father's appearance. Like I say, when he turned up in that third act, I was just like, oh, fuck off. When it's just like little tiny car going beep 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 beep, and just. But the whole sequence of him getting to the bloody place was brilliant. That whole pulling up at the petrol station. Oi, fatty, how'd you put fuel in this car? And then you just see him in the charging station somewhere down the road. He's like, fucking spaceship. I'm a fucking spaceship. I just thought it was brilliant. I just thought it was so cool.
I thought it was pretty much also had a brief vision of my future at that moment. That's where I'm heading, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. This will be how I die. Chest down in a lawnmower. What about speaking of the chest down in the lawnmower and everything else, what about the violence? How do we feel about it? I mean, obviously, Darren, you've brought up the scene in the basement, but what about the rest of it? How do you feel about that?
Oh, I thought it was fine. It's that's the great thing about this. In the end, the good guys were giving just as much as the bad guys.
Yeah. And you was there any moments were there any because I felt that a couple of times, but were there any sort of like what I call diehard fucking gut him moments?
Yeah, when the Nazi shithead got his head blown off.
Yes.
Loved it.
That was
Loved
brilliant.
It. Fucking have some of that, you shithead.
Yeah. As Jim said, there was a lot of air punch moments in that film.
I think he got his arm fucking mangled as well, the big bad guy.
Oh, Peter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Peter's interesting. He starts out, you think he's going to be the reasonable one. And actually, he's the worst of them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the end.
Yeah. Which is the funny bit, because it is that whole thing of again, going back to the beginning, is when he's introduced. It's like he's the exasperated brains of the unit who's been lumbered with two fuckwits, and you just kind of sitting there, kind of going, "Okay, I can see where this comedy's going. He's going to be the sensible one of the Three Stooges all the way through." And to find that actually he's not only the sensible one, but he's one who's a multiple mass murderer. It's like, oh, okay, fine, But what about you, Jim? How did you find the violence? I mean, I know you're a hardened horror fan, but
I think in a film like this, the danger is you go too hard, too quick, and it's kind of if you're up to 10 on your guitar and you're up to 10 on your amp, where do you go? And it's kind of, it's what I call the heavy metal mistake. You come out at 10 and then you've got to go to 11, which most people can't manage. These go up to 11. But this film, I think it really paced it sort of very well. Sort of, just getting more and more kind of outrageous, going from sort of quite slapsticky stuff to sort of, edgy and edgy, until you get, like death by lawnmower.
and face full of fish hooks.
Oh, yeah, the fish hooks were particularly good.
Yeah, that was definitely a moment I was like, oh my lord, oh lordy, no, let's never do that. No, that's not helping me at all. Yeah. I mean, for me, the violence was just that right side of. I mean, I'm never one for films that make you scared because of gore. I just think after about the first 5 fucking pints of blood, you just go, yeah, whatever. I've seen it all.
It's just like looking in a butcher shop window.
Well, exactly. It's that whole.
It's kind of. Yeah. It's not interesting. It's not shocking after the initial.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but this, as you say, that scale of ramp up. Once we've had the scene in the basement, it's like you go from that into sort of full high gear, and you're like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. But even then, it doesn't really start. It starts off quite light with the cue balls full of socks, sock full of cue balls straight into the face. That was a great moment when he looks down, sees the shoe, looks up, and it's just like tonk, right, fucking socks right in the face. So I liked all of that. But I have to say the real one for me, the one that, well, it gets me with everything, is Broken Limbs, and that bit when Lars finds Horse Dick Dave and basically kicks him in the shot kneecap. Oh my lord! That's when I finally just covered my hands over my eyes and went, "Oh no!" and just listened to the sound of broken eggs and a smashed lettuce. It was just like, no, thanks, peace out, thanks very much. Anyway, was there what bit was there a bit that you really enjoyed? Was there one bit that you kind of stand out? If you were going to come and sort of recommend this to someone, what would be the moment? Darren, you got anything?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's a combination of the moments. It's the ridiculousness of the situation being switched. So like at the very beginning, constantly switched. First of all, it's, they're equal. Then Lars thinks he's got the upper hand, but then gets tasered by the wife, and then the bloke comes in with the shovel and knocks her out, and so forth and so forth. Yeah, it's just that the way it links those together, and it's that more incredulous thing you feel of how the fucking hell does this bad shit happen to people?
Yeah,
how does it happen like this?
Yeah. I mean, will you actually? I mean, this is both of you. Sorry to derail and not ask you the same question, Jim. But I mean, was there a point where you were kind of, this is pushing it too far now? the kind of the back and forwards. She's got the upper hand. He's got the upper hand. She's got the upper hand. He's got the upper hand. They're working together.
No.
Did that?
I was just... No, for me, there wasn't. No.
No?
I enjoyed what I saw,
Mm. Okay.
That. To me, I just thought they did it just right,
Yeah. What about you, Jim?
No, I go with that. I think that he knew how much to play these things and how much was the ideal mileage to get out of it. I think when you get to Death by Lawnmower, I was thinking, maybe you're going a little bit far, but we are right at the end now.
Yeah.
It's, that's okay.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? But many of that kind of thing, you're not going to top Death by a Lawnmower.
No. Well, I don't know. Hanging by bag underwater with a face full of fish hooks is certainly up there.
It's pretty bad.
Bad.
The fish hooks were a nice nasty touch because the lawnmower death is kind of over the top. But that's kind of like, for want of a better word, like fantasy violence. Whereas the fish hooks, you can relate to that. You can imagine all too well how that would feel. We've all pricked our fingers at one stage, and you can just imagine kind of little sharp things in your flesh and kind of ow, and it's a good use of a different sort of violence to escalate it for the big fight at the end.
Yeah, especially when he's got that stuck right in his cheek and she rips it out. Oh,
yeah.
That's got that still makes me wince even just by mentioning it. Oh, Jesus. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I was gonna say that I mean, even though I brought it up as a sort of like, did you think it was all going too far? I thought it escalated nicely, but but like I say, I had one or two fuck off moments. But luckily, the flashbacks kind of. Initially, I thought, this is going to get tiresome if we're going to have to keep having flashbacks. But the flashbacks were framed so well that I thought, okay, fine, I'll let you off now. 3 criminals fall through the ceiling. Now, fuck off. And it's like, and then all of a sudden, an old man appears out of nowhere in an electric car to run over the main bad guy. Oh, fuck off. And then it's like, each time you come back and you go, no, actually... all right, fair enough. I'll give you that. I'll let you off each time. By the way, the grossest moment for me was definitely Peter getting the Nazi shit falling through the ceiling on his face. That was...
Yeah.
I mean, any other director would have just looked away. Oh, you've got to say, you would have seen it fall towards the camera and that would have been it. But no. Oh, no. Oh, good Lord, no. I thought that would be quite funny if he suddenly instantly died of dysentery or something, or cholera. But anyway. Trying to think of what else. I mean, there's been... I looked up on the web, and there's been nods and winks and hints and suggestions that this might get a remake. A US remake. How do we feel about that?
Don't know.
Learn to read subtitles.
Yeah,
is how I feel about that.
Learn to. I don't know. Even with this sort of thing, there was still. I don't know. If they do this, it could go really badly, and they could just go over the top with stuff. Because it's Hollywood and we need to be better. Yeah, it could be given to a director who, seeing that the, I'm sure it was successful when it came out. It's that sort of arrogance of thinking, even though this was successful, I can still do better than it.
Yeah.
No, you can't. That's the news. You can't just leave it as it is.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we'll see when we're reviewing the Trip US version in sort of 2025. Well, on the plus side though, all the main cast all speak English, have all been in English or American productions. could just lift the entire cast wholesale. But
you could.
I think though that they would lose. Hollywood lose the essential Finnish humour of it.
Mm.
And it's always the same when they do these English language remakes. There's very few that are worthwhile and just aren't just kind of pointless. It's kind of just remaking something in that way. You just lose something in the process, and a lot of it is the sort of the native flavours.
Mm. Yeah. It wasn't. Yeah, it was interesting because it did. You couldn't put your finger on exactly what it was that made it feel Finnish, but it did feel very unlike a Hollywood production. But sorry, Jim, go on.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's my contention that the trouble with kind of Hollywood currently is everyone's been at the same goddamn film school, and therefore we get scripts that you can set your watch to, and it just. The box ticking and the kind of if you do this, it has to be this. You have to show them this. By then, we need to see and explain this. Otherwise, someone will do a YouTube video about it, rather than just paying someone with baseball bats to go and smash the little cunt's computer and say no more about it. Approach I take with that kind of thing personally. But
yeah, hang on. You do know this podcast does end up on YouTube, right? Before you start endorsing any of that kind of action, Jim.
I'll tell you what you will get in the American version, right? Is you will get stuff signposted that shouldn't be signposted. You'll get stuff that's this is building up to be. You won't get that surprise, I don't think, when the gardener shows up with the shovel, right? Because that will be hinted at, right? But it will be hinted at with like a really big, over the top mutant wink at the camera, and that'll be it. All the subtlety will be gone.
Yeah,
from that the rug pull won't be a rug pull anymore.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, there's too much about it. I just think, as Jim rightly points out, it's got a sort of a Finnish feel to it. It's got the kind of like it's chilly, it's austere, it takes its time.
It's got a very much stuff like that. Humour from that side of the world is very much like the British sort of way of telling a joke in a film, right? It's a lot more dialed back. There's with the Hollywood stuff, there's a lot of overemphasis on stuff that doesn't need to be overemphasized. And with things like it's like that scene where at the end where he's saying, so what did you do, son? How you doing? Oh, I've just shot a man's cock off. That I can not. The delivery of that, it's like, well, yeah, that's the totally sort of. It indicates where it comes from. That kind of delivery. It's that European sort of way of doing it. It's not
subdued.
Hollywood. Yeah, because Hollywood thinks its audience is stupid. This is why we get American remakes, because the concept of anybody from America actually sitting down and watching something with subtitles is, it's unheard of in Hollywood. No, nobody from here does that. And,
we need those mouth breather dollars.
Exactly. And it's like, when they make remakes of like British stuff, somebody hadn't done their research and seen that people watch BBC America.
Yeah.
Which is full of English programs, and they don't require a remake from watching those. Look at things like Doctor Who, that kind of thing. It's just Hollywood itself has a perception that its audience is stupid and needs this remade because subtitles. What?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, exactly. Hello.
Yeah, I'm still.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So. Yeah. No. Sorry. It just sounded like you just went, what? And then you just stopped. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I agree. Subtitles, who is it? director Park, who did Parasite, said, the only problem with audiences is they should see more films if they could just get over that 1-inch barrier at the bottom of the screen. And I agree. I'm so glad I watched this film, and I'm so glad I watched it with subtitles, because I Netflix came on with the dub for about 5 seconds, and I just thought, oh no, I've got to stop that. It sounded wrong. I couldn't handle the sort of lip syncing moving in the wrong way.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, it went sort of like into that kind of, I'm going to speak very simplistically. I'm going to explain everything, and the joke's not going to work, because as soon as I switched it over to the text and the subtitles, suddenly you got this whole different inflection, different meaning. You were listening to the way the voice was delivering the stuff, as opposed to just this man who is saying things like this and he is explaining everything. Like, it's like, no. Why don't you actually try and put some acting into it? That's what they're doing.
It's that thing, is it? They've got, for different parts of the world, they've got a set of voices that they use all the time, right? It's like, I don't know what it's like for European dubs and European films, but when it comes to things like Asian movies, you've always got someone who talks like this.
And you've got someone who talks like this. Hey!
And it's just like,
and
there's
they
only
always
3
use
actors.
slightly outdated slang. Have you noticed in the translations?
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Hey, you looking at me, punk?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Last year, does anyone still say that?
Yes. Why do you talk like that? I'm talking like this. You giving it to me?
See?
Yeah, see? You're being a real jerk, you see? It's like, what the fuck? Who? Yeah, what's going on, you bonehead? It's like,
There's only 6. There's only about 3 different kinds of people in the world, according to the dubbed voices.
Exactly. So, So I'm very glad I did the subtitles, because when he starts, when even just that opening sequence with where he's filming the filming the couple in bed and it's just like, by watching the couple doing this terrible soap opera kind of delivery. Whereas
Very
when
Garth Marenghi.
it was literally, as it couldn't have been any worse if the guy in the bed was like, so I am Dr. Sanchez and I'm going to talk all like this, and I just thought, this is brilliant. This is already pretty bloody stupid. And then
I just thought of Dane Lerner going,
Wonton says my arse is grass and he's got a mower.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was the thing. As soon as I switched to the dialect, to the subtitles, that you could hear them, and you could hear that they were talking like that really staccato, terrible, and I'm having an affair with the pool boy, who is also the father, sort of thing. And it's just like, wow. And it kind of made a lot more sense.
well, they make more comment on that by the end of the film anyway, when they do they show the actual film that they made of the incident.
Yes.
And it's like, the part of the husband is not played by a balding white guy. By the end of it, they've got to change that, and it's like more action packed.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And then not only that, it was also the whole thing about the pool boy, and the fact that he's seen the text messages and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, which is exactly what Lars brings up later on, talking about Diego, by going, oh yeah, you're giving him lessons by, I could tell how many lines he was feeding you because they were attached to his cock or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
It's just like, oh my god. But anyway, I watch it with subtitles. I don't want to see a remake, to be honest, and even if there was, I probably wouldn't watch it, to be honest. Right. Any last thoughts? Any last things you want to bring up?
No, well, apart from the fact I think I'll have to delve into more sort of European comedies. I think just have a watch of them. You know, don't think I've really watched that many. So, yeah, maybe this is an area for me to explore.
Yes. Yeah, I think it definitely does set that stage up nicely. That if you've enjoyed this and you can do comedy with subtitles, then so to speak, then yeah, this is I think it's great. I think it's really cool. What about you, Jim? Any last thoughts? Anything?
No, I mean, this was one of those films. It was kind of, I went into it knowing very little, but about a handful of words and a recommendation, and actually I just had a thoroughly good time with it. It's outrageous and violent and sick and as nasty as it was, but
yeah,
there's something cathartic sometimes about it. About something that you can actually get laughter out of the darkest places.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a film which was similarly dark. I mean, the only thing that kept coming to mind was apart from Evil Dead 2 was the War of the Roses with Catherine.
Yes. Oh yeah,
Kathleen Turner and was it
Michael Douglas?
Michael Douglas, yeah,
and Danny DeVito,
and Danny DeVito, yeah. Which had a kind of similar sort of like, oh my god, this is this is getting worse and worse by the second. But yeah, no, this is really cool. I liked it. I'm very glad you picked it, Jim, because it would not have been a film I would have gone for. I'll be honest with you. But yeah, very cool indeed. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, we'll leave it there. And but before we get to Pimp's Corner and find out what's happening over on Jim's podcast on Hypnocoria, let's find out what film Darren has picked for us. Now, before Darren tells us, let me just set this up for the listeners out there. That Darren started off this recording by saying that he had something in mind, and whether or not we'd want to go for something we hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
And we're all in a bit of a random zone, I think is probably the best way of putting it.
Yes.
So, Darren, over to you, my friend. What have you picked for us?
Well, let's see now. I think the phrase "something old, something new" comes to mind with this, because this is a remake.
Okay.
From what I'm reading of this. This is about as right angle a remake as you can actually get.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
It's based on a TV show from, let's see, around about the early 80s, I think it was, mid-80s. That was very popular on television. I know I used to watch it. I used to love watching it. Although I'll probably watch it again today and think, what the fuck was that all about? So the film I'm going to choose today is from 2020.
Right.
It's produced by the Blumhouse studio. And it is Fantasy Island.
Oh, right.
Holy fuck.
Yep. Holy fuck indeed.
Oh, my God.
And I've just seen the rating out of 10. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting watch.
Oh, God.
Hey, we might enjoy it. I don't know. I've never seen it, but I've seen this appear a few times on the selections, and it's just like I wonder what this is like. It's actually charted on Netflix, top 10 in the UK today. It's number 7.
Dude, you know how Netflix works with the charts, right? I mean, it literally is. Yeah. This is the only 7 new films that we put on Netflix.
Yeah, indeed.
Wow.
So we'll see how this goes. Let's see. Has it got It's just a blurb. When the host of a mysterious island resort promises to fulfill the fantasies of several guests, their visits turn into nightmarish ordeals.
God.
So, yeah. There you go.
Okay. So, I'm going to ask, have you seen this film then?
Never.
Okay. Jim, have you seen this?
No, but I do remember the TV show.
Yep, so do I.
Okay.
The plane!
The plane.
Yeah.
Mr. Rock, the plane here coming.
Okay. I'm going to say I haven't seen the film. I have seen the TV show, and I have seen more than my fair share of reviews of this film. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not looking forward to it. That's all I'm going to say. So there you go. And then where's that available on? What's
available on Netflix.
Oh, good. Good old Netflix.
Yep, and you can watch it, stream it. You can download it if you want.
Yeah, that should tell you all you need to know if they're allowing you to download it.
You know, that we used to have that phrase, straight to video. This is straight to streaming.
Straight to download.
Yeah, straight to download. Straight to a bloke knocking on your door and just giving it to you.
Yes.
What? I never asked for this. Yeah, but you're getting it anyway.
We don't want it. Take it away. Okay. Well, there you go. Fantasy Island. Michael Penner from the geezer who plays Lewis in Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. Yep.
Or Louise. Yeah. So wow. Let's all go on a journey, shall we? Let's all go on a journey.
Let's go to
Fantasy Island.
Hey, Fantasy Island. He tasks me, and I shall have him. I
will chase him around the hot dog stands.
And through perdition's flame until I give him up. Anyway, right. So, Fantasy Island. I'm in a little bit of shock there now. I'm going to be honest with you.
Hey, I did say I was going to choose something we'd never seen before.
Yeah, but there's loads of films I haven't seen before.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
This is just one of them.
Was it Ray from Ghostbusters moment? Who thought of this? Who thought of this? It just creeped into my head.
It just popped in there. What? What popped in there, Darren? Oh my God. I'm too terrified beyond rational thought.
It's Tattoo from Fantasy Island. Oh, the plane.
Oh God, who's gonna be Tattoo? Is it gonna be Deep Roy or someone like that? Or
who's that bloke from The Hills Have Eyes? You know, the one who always plays the sort of like
Michael Berryman or whatever it is.
Yeah, him.
Okay.
He's
going to play Tattoo?
He's going to be Tattoo in this new one.
Right.
I've kind of wrapped it up a bit and gone the other way.
Oh right, I would have imagined they would have just gone straight for Peter Dinklage. I thought his phone was hanging off the hook, sort of like permanently engaged for things like this. Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah, I don't.
Do you know what? I don't think he actually wouldn't mind doing that because he's complained already to Disney about the fact that they're doing Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs without dwarfs. Because apparently Disney are afraid to offend people.
No, I thought...
he's like, what the fuck?
No, I thought it was the other way around. I thought it was offensive. I don't know. I haven't got enough information to comment on it, but
I'm sure he was unhappy with them turning around and saying, no, we won't be using...
I thought it was the other way around. I thought it was...
No, I understood that there'd be no mention of what they were doing about the dwarves, but he did say about really, are we going to do a story about 7 dwarves who are living in a cave?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I thought it was completely the other way, that he didn't want dwarves to be in 7 Dwarfs. But I'm wow, ladies and gentlemen. I've just Googled up Blumhouse's Fantasy Island 2020. Do you know what score it's got on Rotten Tomatoes?
2.
8%.
8%?
8%. Which means there's 92% of this film is shit. Well, we shall find out. Anyway, we do Fantasy Island next week. Thank you, Darren. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's all right, mate.
If you turn around and call me up and say that you're not turning up for next week's cast, I'm going to actually turn up on your doorstep and stab you in the face with a fucking lawn chair. Right. Anyway, let's move on to Pimping Corner while we wrap it up. So, Jim, what's happening over in Hypnogoria land?
This week I've dropped another episode of my History of Universal Horror. And coming up this week, and yet to be decided, I'm going to be doing something about ladies in horror, as it is Women in Horror Month, February.
Nice.
I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do yet. I've got several things I do want to cover, but which week I get round to them, I do not know yet.
Uh-huh. Watch this
and
space.
Also out this week will be, providing it's not entirely libelous, when I listen back to it, possibly the angriest and sweariest episode we've ever done of Commentary Club.
What were you watching? Don't say Fantasy Island.
No. It was The Ice Road with Liam Neeson.
Oh, my God. No. Oh, I could have stopped you. Why didn't you tell me? I could have stopped you. I literally sat around Rob Spry's house and watched that film because it looked okay on the trailer. Oh, my God, that film.
I couldn't believe how poor it was. I think we exceeded. I think we've not done a count yet, but I think we exceeded the C-bomb count.
Hold on, have I jumped into the future?
6.
Yeah.
Have I jumped into the future for next week? Are we reviewing the film I've just talked about now? Have you watched it? Did I fall asleep?
No. I tell you what, I haven't seen Fantasy Island, but I have seen the Ice Road or the Ice Truck. Is it Ice Road or Ice Truck?
It is the Ice Road. Yeah.
I have seen Ice Road with Liam Neeson, and by fucking jingo, it's a terrible movie. It's a terrible film.
Well, do you remember there's Mitchell and Webb series of sketches about the lazy script writers who couldn't be bothered to do any research? So they'd write medical dramas where, Doctor, this man is very poorly. Better get him some medicine.
Yes.
It was like that level of scripting.
Mm-hmm.
How did they turn those flip trucks over?
Oh, God.
I started angry. I got angrier and angrier.
Yeah.
And the only bits that weren't swearing was every time his brother came on, I kept shouting, "Right turn, Clyde."
Oh, God.
But anyway, yes, you good. So that'll be coming this week.
Oh.
The angriest episode ever.
I will be listening to that. Don't worry.
I think we were even angrier than when we did the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, you've only got yourself to blame for that. You've already seen it once for Black Dog. Watching it again, that's fooling you, that is, I'm afraid.
It was.
Oh, God. Okay. And that's all over at hypnogoria.com, yeah?
It is indeed.
Brilliant. And he's not here to promote it, but we're on rogue2.com, rogue2media.com. Elton opened up the Shonky Lab. Not entirely successfully on the streaming front, but he did open it up anyway, and he was joined by myself and Mr. Darren, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
And we talked about video game controllers.
Yes,
which it's a strange subject, but it's strangely compelling, especially when we start getting into battery packs and gloves and stupid designs and that kind of thing. In between complaining about the stream not working. So, but we'll see how it goes. But that's over at rogue2media.com, or at least it will be very soon once he's edited it. So that's that. And that's also our promotion, I guess, isn't it? Del?
Yes, it is.
Brilliant. Okie dokie. Right, well, thank you very much for listening, everyone. Thank you, Darren, for picking Fantasy Island. That's certainly...
Oh, don't worry, it's fine. I know you're going to love it.
It's a gift that I already feel like it's going to keep on giving once we've seen it. And, Yeah. So thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. And we'll see you all next time. So until then, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you on Fantasy Island. Until then,
Indeed.
tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And Elton's not here, so I'll just go, tell-her.
Yeah.
Got to keep the format.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.